Hi there, so I just want to show you a little more about ball flights. Basically, I have a few little diagrams drawn up here. And so this first one is basically showing you, the different ball flights of the different types of clubs you're going to hit. Now, in general, wedge is going to go a lot higher than, say, like a wood. Your wood's going to start over there, but it's going to go a lot longer because it's going to have a lower ball flight. The mid iron, like maybe like 6 iron or your 7 iron, it's going to be a more neutral ball flight. And now this is the wind scale ish. So 0 mile an hour will usually go, pretty straight. Either way, 2 or 4 mile an hour wind will move you a little bit here or there, just depending on how high you hit the ball, I should say, because the height of the ball determines basically how much the wind's going to affect it. And then 8 mile an hour and then 10 plus is going to go ahead generously move that ball. So now like I mentioned in the previous video, this is how you shot shape. The little triangle is basically where your body line is, and then the big triangle is where the ball is going to go to. So say if you got a tree right here, right? So you're going to aim to the left of the tree, and then you're going to hit the ball up this way, and then it's going to curve around and come in. Especially if you move this big triangle like over here. So yeah, there's that, and also the wind affects it. So you got to be careful with that too. Play the wind, play the lie, play the play the curve, and yada yada yada. So now this is basically a diagram on the ball. Now around the edge of the ball you don't want to hit. This is like the red area. You don't want to hit outside of this area. Now anywhere inside the circle or even on the circle is pretty much fine. This is going to loft the ball higher. This is going to loft the ball lower. Now some people play it to where they move the dot on the ball like over here. I don't do any of that, so I can't really help you with that. But basically, what it is if you hit the ball more to the right, the ball's going to fly to the right. If you hit the ball more to the left, it's going to fly to the left. I don't understand why that mechanic was put into the game, but well, it's a game, video game logic. It's who cares? So okay, basically, this is the difference between hitting the ball higher or lower on the ball. So if you're hitting a wedge, and you strike lower on the ball, you're going to hit it higher in the air. So you're going to want to imagine this ball flight. This is what you're going to get. Now, if you hit it more in the middle, more like a neutral or normal, just right in the center, it's going to do its normal ball flight. Now, if you top it, hit it, more on the top, then it's going to it's going to go more toward its target. You're going to hit it further, but you're going to get less like backspin on it. And you might, in tournament speed greens, it might even bounce forward. So like what you want to do is basically imagine that ball flight and then imagine what it's going to do on the green. And then this is for your mid irons. Same thing, if you loft it, it's going to go a lot higher. If you just hit it in the middle, it's going to go your normal, yada yada. And then if you hit it high on the thing, if you hit it high on the ball, then it's going to be a lot lower trajectory. And now, so this is the woods. Now the woods are going to be a lot lower, especially your driver. Depending on what loft angle you have on your driver. Mine's a 7.5, and if I hit it like right on top of the wall, I can shoot that thing like a bullet and launch it like maybe like 4 or 5 feet off the ground. It's really good for getting out of like tree situations. So like if you got a low hanging branch or something, say this is the branch, this is the ball, and you got to hit it low, sometimes hitting like right on top of the ball, like maybe even like in this area, it'll keep it really low for you. So yeah, these are the ball flights, and say if you're hitting like even like a hybrid or something and you loft it pretty high, you can still get a decent amount of height on it. Like I don't know, it's hard to really put a number on it, but like once you get used to it, just you can just kind of imagine the ball flights and just playing the different shots and stuff. Now here's the thing: if you hit lower on the say you got 10 plus mile an hour, say you got like 12 mile an hour wind or something blowing. Now if you're hitting low on the ball, the higher the ball goes in the air, the more it's going to affect it. So it's really going to bend that ball, especially if you're hitting a wedge. Now if you're hitting the in the middle of the what do you call it, middle of the ball, it's still going to turn, but it's not going to turn as much as if you hit it high in the air. Then if you hit it low, well, I should say high in the ball and low in the air, then it's not going to turn as much. It's still going to turn because you got a good amount of wind blowing, but it's only really gonna do something like that in the whole grand scheme of things. Then it depends on how long you're hitting it. Say from here to here is like 200 yards, right? You're gonna want to imagine that ball hit. Say you hit it out this way, and say it's going high in the air, right? It's going out this way, and it's gonna start turning and turning and turning. Then it's gonna land. So you want to kind of imagine that entire ball flight, and you just depending on how high you hit it, determines how much the wind's gonna blow it, and then you just kind of imagine that ball flight. Now, let's see, average turn. Oh, tournament. Okay, great. So, the green speeds, right here. If you're hitting a wedge, so this is the descent angle. The ball's coming down, and it's gonna land. Now, if it's on average speed green, you're probably gonna get backspin. If it's on fast screens, depending on how much spin you have, me personally, I think I'm at like a 74, my spin. A lot of people have it on 95. You can set it however you want. But like, so if you have it on a 95, you're definitely going to get a good amount of backspin. If you have it on what I have it on, like a more neutral spin, you're probably going to only get a little bit of backspin. And then say if you're on fast speed and you're at a 95, you're still going to come back. And if you're at a 74, you're probably just gonna one hop and a stop. It might like bounce and then land and just stay right where it's at. Now on tournament speed, you might, depending on what wedge you're hitting, like if you're hitting like a 60 degree, you might stay where you're at. You might not get hardly any forward rolling at all. But if you're hitting like a pitching wedge, then you're probably going to get a bit of roll. I mean, you might not get that much. You might only get maybe like 3 or 4 feet, something like that. Depending on if you're lofting it, like if you hit the ball in the bottom and then you hit it up and it comes down and lands, it might roll out just a little bit. So that's another thing you want to think about, is you just want to think about how the ball is going to react. Now this is basically with a mid iron. Now say if you're hitting like a 4 iron in, and you're coming in like this, and you're on average speed greens, you're probably just not going to get any spin, like backspin at all, but it's probably not going to go forward either. If it's on fast, it'll probably bounce and then roll a little bit. Then if it's on tournament, it might bounce a couple times and then trickle out. So it just depends. Also, it depends on, if you hit the ball at the bottom or on the top. If you hit the ball on the top, you're going to come in lower and it's going to land and it's going to roll out more, especially on tournament speed. And then on fast, it'll roll out to about yay, and then average, it still might, it might roll to maybe like 2 feet. I don't know. I don't really play average all that much. I think it's kind of an artificial, like even with this, this is the woods. I forgot to write that down. But the woods, they come in really low, and they still don't get like a whole bunch of spin on average. So, like I said, I don't really like to play average because to me it's just not a realistic green speed. Like I play actual golf, and this is like a video game version of, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's just, to me it doesn't work out. So on fast with the wood, you come in, you're gonna get some roll. On tournament speed, you're probably gonna bounce, maybe go off the green. So you're probably gonna want to play it somewhere to the front of the green. So we're gonna roll up to the to say the holes right here. And if you have a front pin location, you might even want to land it off the green and then let it roll up onto the green and then somewhere close. All right. But also, it's just it's all up to interpretation and just depending on what your situation is. All right, so now if you're landing on a side slope, I mean, this is a pretty exaggerated side slope, but let's just say if you're coming in and you're landing on an upslope, right? The ball, it will probably stay right around there. It's not going to bounce forward as much because you got all this momentum coming in, but you got this slope that's going to stop it dead almost. Then if you're coming like more on a wedge angle coming down, you're going to land and you're going to get that backspin. It's going to come right back to you. A lot of shorter greens, or not shorter greens. A lot of front pin locations have, like, they call it a false front, where the green is like this and then it tilts down. So if you land here and you got backspin, you're going to spin right off that green. All right, now if say this is a front slope green, and you come in and you land like this on like a lower loft and angle, you see how the lower loft there? you're going to kick and roll forward. And then if you come straight down, you might stay right about there, maybe kick a little forward. And now, this is like the ball being like on a flat lie above your feet, below your feet, and then a little more angled above your feet, below your feet. Basically, the way the club is pointed, that's where the ball is going to fly to. All right, well, I hope this helps. You guys have a great day. Thank you.